Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, excellent. Are those screens new? I don't remember them. Yeah, they've been there.
Nice to get away.
Okay, microphones are live. You're live on 18, and there we go. Ready to go.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, we ready to roll? Okie dokie. All right, let's call the meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call. Mike Hurwitz is on the phone. Sheila Stocksmith.
Here.
Tom Osborne is going to be absent, right?
Correct.
And Sandy's going to be absent. Mark Winkler.
Here.
Bill Bishop.
Here.
And Lisa Branham.
Here.
All right, fantastic. First point of business is the minutes from the last meeting. If there is, if no comments, one, Sheila?
Yeah, two things. There's a couple of typos in it, and, rather than go through all of it, I just printed it out and circled a couple of things, so maybe we'd want to amend that. And I'd like to amend the statement that is under my portion here to what I think better reflect what I was trying to say. So if I could, and again, to make it easier, I just typed it out. So if I could read this, and then if you guys could agree to whether you want to accept it or not. So I've got to amend the record to reflect. Sheila Stocksmith stated that over the years that the structure of TIF projects have varied greatly with each administration and city council taking a slightly different approach to award amounts, requirements for developer secured financing, reimbursement procedures, and more. She believes that the ECDC should be careful not to apply unique scrutiny of TIF projects presented by lesser known or non-establishment entities, or that seek to devote resources in areas that by their very nature may be considered more risky. Commissioner Stocksmith went on to say that she believes these types of projects are actually what TIFs are designed for, and that the EDCD should be more flexible in TIF applications when dealing with grassroots individuals and entities.
Okay. Sounds great. So we'll look to amend the minutes that way. And is there a motion to approve with those amendments?
So moved.
Second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Thank you,
Opposed?
Sheila. It'll be noted.
All right, thanks.
Mark, if I could add one thing.
Yes, go ahead.
Also, did make an amendment. Mark did point out similarly, to a comment that he had made. So the minutes that I've attached in this packet reflect that change to Mark's comment. So it was a misquote on my behalf, so I apologize for that.
And really, it was just one word difference. It said, I am not as concerned.
Right.
Whereas it previously said, I am concerned. So,
That makes a
That's
big
kind of
It certainly makes a big difference. So I appreciate everyone's input on this. And
Now, I appreciate, Robbie, what you're doing. It's really hard to condense what, especially what I say, because I don't do it in a very concise
trying to find
manner
a
often.
medium. We do have them on. All of our meetings are recorded, so they are on YouTube. So this is a bit more abridged version than last month's minutes were. So thank you, guys.
perfect.
I guess one other thing, as far as Tom Osborne, wasn't he absent last meeting, or was he on the phone? I know he wasn't in person.
Tom, I believe, was in attendance at last meeting, Mark.
I thought he was too.
I don't remember.
I think it was Michael, myself, and Sandy, and then William and Sheila on that side.
Yeah, you say that, you're right.
I will reflect that.
It does. I just want to
thank
make
you.
sure it's clear.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Mark.
Okay, excellent. We'll move to new business and welcome our new commissioner, Lisa Branham. Lisa, maybe just give us the 30-second version of who you are and et cetera.
Well, my name is Lisa Branham. I'm a Springfield native, graduated from Southeast High School, and incidentally, I've lived here all my life, and it's good to serve on this committee. Nice to meet some of you that I've met today, and good to see some that I've already known. So thank you for having me.
All right, well, great. We're happy to have you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, next, the presentation on enterprise zone, TIF, et cetera.
Okay. If we could move to the next agenda item, Mark, only because my colleague Mesfin needs to run back to the office to adjust the PowerPoint.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and then we'll have that presentation.
Sounds great. All right, so we'll move on to CAP 1908 project was filed, and any update there?
Yes, the update there was last night, this project was passed by City Council. So the total amount that we'll be using for CDBG funds will be $179,235. So that has been approved by City Council.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. Any questions there?
I didn't get to watch that last night. Was there any caveats to this? Any unique, I don't know, wrinkles?
I can speak a little bit, and then the mayor is also here as well in attendance. The
Where's the
concern for council members was to ensure that we had the end use in place, that this was an eligible CDBG expense, which we did have the consultant, our consultant for CDBG and HUD, Bill Cabal, on, and he authorized this as a legitimate expenditure of funds. We are also requesting a timeline of funding to complete the project through fruition from CAP 1908. So we are awaiting Dominic and his team to compile that timeline for us so we can get an accurate picture of when complete funding for the project will be done.
And the 179,233 or 239, is that for the purchase of the one building?
Yes, that's the acquisition cost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And I apologize, can you give me a high-level synopsis of what that is, the CAP 1908?
Yeah, it's a community project that is really a social innovation center. It's a business incubator along with providing education for entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, as well as kind of linking several other city resources together, namely UIS, Innovate Springfield. Black Chamber of Commerce will all be able to kind of use that as a hub to orchestrate various economic development activities, as well as cultivate, a business healthy environment.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Can I just add, it's in the Southtown redevelopment.
Thank you so much.
And is it, since we didn't see the full package before it went on, I'm assuming that they'll come back to us at some point with the bigger project as well? Is that, because we've only approved the acquisition of the site at this point, right?
Correct.
Okay. Mayor, would you like to speak?
Just one clarification on the 179,000, that was for the parcels behind it. So it's a building, and I think there's two other parcels that were acquired for parking. So those were separate. And then, as Robbie said, it's for business economic development. We will put a lien on the properties because it does have to meet the HUD requirements according to the Community Development Block Grant Funds. And so they have to adhere to that business assistance for low, moderate income impacted areas and people. That's the whole gist of it. And so they have to meet those parameters. The one of the discussion points brought up by one of the council members was with regards to funding 100% of the purchase. And so they didn't, they thought they should have skin in the game. Well, they will eventually. They are going to be housed there. But I compared it to the Webcom tour, the golf outing out west, which Memorial Now sponsors. The city of Springfield was the first one into that sponsorship. And then years later came LRS and then Memorial. And this is a similar project or an initiative because people want to see the city's investment backing first. Another one that just recently passed was Legacy Sports Complex. That would never happen without the city support. So some of these projects that would never happen. So this is one of those, and I think it's going to flourish. They have other partners that they've talked to, as Ravi had pointed out. And so that will come in the near future with the cultivation of this project as it moves forward.
Thank you.
All right, any additional questions? Okay, you want to move on to the Taylor House project as well?
Sure. The Taylor House project did pass, and again, we are using, just for clarification, 2/3 of the total acquisition, the total stabilization cost will come from the cannabis fund, and then 1/3 will come from the TIF dollars from the Far East TIF. So that total TIF allotment will be $73,000 out of the Far East TIF that will be used towards the stabilization of the Taylor House. We did get an update from Dominic. It's unfortunate that John Getz from R.D. Lawrence did contract COVID, and was in the hospital for 2 weeks, but now he is back in the office. So we look to hopefully communicate with them as early as possible to get an update on the timeline for that stabilization. But right now, we are seeking that timeline, as well as the negotiation between Bone LLC and R.D. Lawrence. So we'll follow up on that.
And I forget, did we, I know we approved the foundation money. Did we ever get a final, I forgot what the final total project was.
The final total project, I'll have to get back, I believe it was 1.4 million in that vicinity. They
Okay.
did provide a final quote to city council, but that dollar amount I will get for the commissioners.
And again, those dollars, we haven't
No,
approved anything yet. We're just, at this point, it's just the foundation.
that is correct.
Did they talk about a timeline in the beginning? I can't remember, like when, a projected start date before this happened with him.
Yeah, they
going
were
in the hospital?
hopefully wanting to start by roughly now, the turn of the new year, and it would roughly take about 90 days for the full winterization and stabilization of the project to happen. But just a delay with, John Getz and R.D. Lawrence currently, so that's pushing back the timeline a little bit. So we are requesting a kind of amended timeline from them to gauge, how quickly the project will take off.
Okay, very good. Ordinance amending Chapter 33, Section 33.5. You want to report on that?
Yes, so for the commissioners, in the packet that they received, I did attach the ordinance that City Council had passed in regards to our commission. We are amending the total number of commissioners that will be on our body, and the mayor did provide an update on this at our last meeting, that this would be a great initiative for us, as we would have just kind of greater oversight, as well as, more interested bodies, in the expenditures of city dollars. So I didn't know if the mayor wanted to maybe speak on this, but I did note here that the commission will now consist of 15 members, and the appropriate bodies of representation are listed in Exhibit A in the attached packet. So that's there for reference.
Mayor, would you like to speak?
Well, the council did approve the expansion of the board, but now it's up to each of the governing bodies to make that recommendation to the city council. And then once they're approved, then they would start attending the meetings. So probably be probably February or March be my estimation when that happens.
Okay, very good. Any questions?
Just have two comments.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the first time I'm seeing this. Is this the first time this is in front of us, or?
I'm not sure the document.
This is the first time the document is, because the actual ordinance passed after our December 8th meeting.
Is that what it is? The ordinance is
Yeah,
what you're
I mean, I
looking
guess
at?
it's just,
Yes.
and I understand the timing of that. It would be nice if we could at least see these things, even if it isn't, if it's being presented to city council, obviously there's been some process. It's been created, it's been, it'd be nice if we just would have gotten a chance to maybe see it. Obviously we don't vote on it, maybe, or, whatever. But I would have been interested to see how this body is being restructured. And then I guess I just want to make another comment that I've made in the past, and that is that I think we need to ensure diversity on the commissions, on all the city commissions, including this one. So when we are accepting nominations from outside entities, I would encourage them to be mindful of that, to nominate people who will, ultimately we will ultimately create a diverse body of people on this commission. Thank you.
Yeah, if I could, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
On that, that's a good note to pass along, because really the governing body of this was for TIF districts, and that's the reason the other governing bodies will be part of it, is because, with the extension of the Enos Park TIF, that was kind of the negotiations made in part to make that happen. So, that's where taxing bodies forfeit their extension of those areas. But to the Commissioner Sheila Stock-Smith's point, they should really, put their government hat aside and focus on the importance of TIF and growing that area. How do you impact the lives of people in that area? That's really the focus. And so, when I did speak to the other entities, and I will reemphasize it, not only the diversity, but also the point of, this is a professional body. This is not a political one. I know it's in the realm of politics with city council, you're voted on, things of that nature, but really each member that I put forward the name was selected based on what they bring to the table. So we don't want the political realm kind of easing into this process, because this has been a good process. It gives the city council reassurance that the projects come forward are looked at professionally and vetted accordingly. And so we want to make sure we maintain that integrity as we move forward.
Very good. Any additional questions? And I agree with you, Sheila, that it'd be just nice to be aware of before. So just in the future, if we can, that'd be great to at least get it, especially if it's impacting this group, to have seen it, right? Okay, very good. Okay, you want to circle back to the presentation yet, or?
We're just awaiting for my colleague, Messvin, to come back.
Okay.
So if we want to move to old business perhaps.
Sure.
And then we'll just wait for that presentation.
Okay,
If that's okay,
excellent.
Chair.
Can I,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I just ask a question back on this again?
Sure.
Is there anything on this, I'm trying to read it really quickly, that changes other than the number of members? Is this different in any other way than it was before?
No, that was the change, was the number of members and who was represented. I think it was, I'm just going from memory. I think the township was codified in that, Capital Township, the county, Park District, I believe Lincoln Land Community College was the other one.
And water reclamation?
Oh, yeah,
Both of-
sanitary district.
Sanitary
Yep.
district.
Sanitary,
Yep.
but, so
But,
does that
yeah.
include, so now are all the taxing bodies included, or was it just a
No,
certain
the ones that
number?
aren't, let me think, the ones that aren't, of
How
course,
many are there,
the
like
convention
9,
center.
I think told?
You have the convention center, you have the airport authority. The school district's already been here, so those are the others that had not been.
Okay.
There might be some other ones I'm missing, but those are the main ones.
And was there logic into which ones, are these the biggest, I guess, I don't
Well, there's two
most at
holdouts.
stake?
The township and sanitary district were the holdouts with the letter. And,
Okay.
I don't want to dive into all of that. Because but, of course, the largest ones would have been the school district's the largest, and that's who we had previously, are always on here. And then Capital Township was represented by Alderwoman Lakeisha Purchase, so that's why they wanted to maintain that presence. But again, we want to make sure that it's represented well. But the other ones, I'm not sure I think it's based on the size or of what they bring into the taxing area. But the Park District, of course, is one of those. The county is the other one.
Okay.
So just to be clear, this does not in any way change the requirement, the state requirement for the Joint Review Board, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so that's totally distinct from this board.
Okay, and quorum now will be, I assume, at least a majority, so 8?
Yes, it would be 8.
Okay, well, once we have these members.
Once they're
Right,
established.
once they're
on
established.
board, yeah, okay.
I do have a question about subsection E, I would call it, because I think that's probably going to directly affect me. Before I actually got on the commission, I was contacted by Artie Lawrence about the Taylor House project. So would that be something that I can't do now, or?
That's something you'd abstain from the vote.
Okay,
And I'm not sure how that subsection reads, but yeah, I don't know if that precludes you or anything of that nature.
okay,
We can check that, though.
okay.
Okay.
Mayor, have we heard anything more on Legacy Point, where we stand on that and how things are progressing on it?
Yeah, the last part that the city had to pass was a zoning issue. So they're getting their investors right now. What I will do is I was going to have the developer come back before the city council to get an update, but I'd ask them to do the same for this body as well.
Okay.
That way you can, know what's happening. But the discussions, they've received a lot of interest, a lot more interest than what they originally anticipated. So that's exciting. So they're not going to have a problem in funding it, I don't believe. And then Shields has signed on as the lead sponsoring entity outside the city, of course, as part of that. So it's really moving that forward in a trajectory where they start groundbreaking, I believe, in this spring. But we'll ask them at the next meeting, come back and either via Zoom or in person preferably, and then give an update for you guys and then also the city council.
That was a great deal for Shields to get on board with it. I mean, community really, I know they appreciate that. And anything on further than last month's meeting with the Commons?
Oh, yeah, Springfield Commons. They are applying for their tax credits, and so we should have an update hopefully by next month's meeting. My understanding, I thought they'd have the financial closing done with new market tax credits. I think they're going for housing tax credits, which takes longer. And so that's where we'll circle back around and hopefully get a closing date in the near future, by your next meeting at least, and give an update.
Yeah, I just knew that they talked that they were pretty close to last month when we had our meeting.
It's strange, well, you understand this. The challenge for the financing is the outstanding debt associated with the project. It wasn't, they inherited it. It wasn't their making. And so, but that was one of the caveats that we wanted them to pay off all the debt associated with that. That was contractors, union debt as well. And so, but if you fast forward with the pandemic, what's happening now is the escalation of building materials and cost of labor, everything else. You probably would have been better off just taking the bite of the apple 2 years ago and just finishing it and going forward and getting it up and running. That's the time value of money, is when you wait, you never know what tomorrow brings. And now you have the raising prices of the workforce, materials, and everything else that's kind of offset the $400,000 debt. And so, but they will work diligently. They have millions of dollars committed already because they assumed the previous debt. So they're committed to getting it done. It's just a matter of time.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, again, I just want to echo what Commissioner Bishop raised with subsection E. I mean, it seems like that language would apply to more people than just him.
Yeah, if you could
So I
read, is it
think
very
that-
long to read? If you could read that.
You know,
That'd be
it
good.
says, no member during his or her tenure for 1 year thereafter shall have any interest, direct or indirect, in any contract, subcontract proposal, or the proceeds thereof with respect to any project reviewed, looked over, explored, or discussed in any fashion by this commission. I mean, it's obviously depending on how it's interpreted, but,
Right.
you know, if the school district, for instance, is part of it, or the labor unions are part of it, or if, you know, I mean, how strict, if there's a banking interest
I think you're gonna find
involved. I mean, you
restrictions.
know,
to,
what, is it just to not be, just to abstain from voting? That's one
Yeah.
thing, but that's really not what this says.
I think we'll have to take a look at that because, well, if you know, you can interpret that in many different ways, even with the new commissioners coming on. I mean, that's impactful to them for their taxing body. So that's something I'll get with Corporation Counsel and see how we can, it'd probably have to be amended, I would think, if it, to some degree, that's acceptable, to make sure that, as you said, it's just not one commissioner, it could be others that are impacted, and making sure that it's really pertaining to a conflict of interest. How do we handle that? So that's what we need to fine tune.
Okay.
Perhaps they can recuse themselves, if possible, from the vote.
Which is how it works with city council currently.
Right.
I mean, I'm not suggesting it has to be the same here, but I mean, I would suggest at the very least, or that the commissioner would at least state their conflict,
Right.
disclose it and state it up front, and/or not vote, I don't know. Again, Corporation Counsel will have to figure that out.
Yep. We will check that and have it addressed by the next meeting.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, very good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Any other old business, Ravi? Is there any other old business?
No, just wanted to provide those updates.
Okay, very good. And are we at the point yet with the other presentation?
Yes, give us just one moment.
Okay.
Oh, just with, is it old business we're at?
Yes.
No, or public, I just want to, I think we should publicly congratulate our fellow Commissioner Sandy Hamilton
Sure.
for her appointment as a state representative for, is it the 99th?
That's a great question. I don't know.
It changed, it's now changed, but I
Yeah.
think currently it's the 99th, I think. So I just didn't want us to go
Yeah.
without doing that, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Let the record note, congratulations to Sandy. It's fantastic. I'm sure she'll do a great job representing us.
Most definitely.
Okay. Any other old business, Chairman?
I think that is it on the old business side of things.
Yes, we're just waiting on just the file to be moved over, so it'll be transmitted on the screens, and then we'll start the presentations.
Okay, very good.
Couple moments. Mike, did you have any comments?
Not at the time, no. It's really tough to hear some of the people speaking, but,
Sorry about that.
no, it's okay. I can hear Mark and you really well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Ravi, is there any update to the Vinegar Hill project? Or, I mean, is that even considered a project yet, or?
Not yet, but I would let the mayor speak if he has any updates. I do not at this time.
Yeah, there's been no request come forward with city resources financially. I know they're looking at a commercial kitchen incubator in that, which would be very helpful, especially with the hospitality industry. But they're looking to, do all the structure. I think the Con Hospitality Group is moving into the old, the administrative offices, or where the restaurant used to be at Bowers. And so I think that's probably in the best shape, but the Opera House and that's going to be a significant amount. And I think it's probably 2 years in the making, but they've just started that process. But we appreciate them doing it, because that's a key component just south of the Capitol, and that will really breathe new life into that area that's needed it for some time.
Absolutely, I would echo that. It's funny, right before I heard about it, it was like the day before I was driving by, and I just looked at it, and I thought, why? Why? This is such a gorgeous building, it's a gorgeous location, and so it's really nice to see somebody And once again, the cons are, putting their neck out to try to make
If
things better.
anybody could
So-
get it done, it'll be them. They did the Meisenbacher House, which is now William Vance, and took a lot of grief over that. At that time, it was Mayor Davlin, took a lot of grief. That was TIF funds used, I think, going back in time.
I believe that was because the house sat in the street
Yeah, middle of the
for a
street,
year.
yeah, for the winter.
If I remember
But, yep,
correctly.
but it's a great asset, and, they were real visionary at that time, because it's Obed and Isaacs with William Vance, that whole area's been transformed from that moving to that house. It was very good, and so I appreciate them taking this initiative on as well.
It's a good example, I think, of how at the time it seems like, because that was a major crisis at the time. I mean, that was major. You could not get that thing off the street, had to block the street off and everything for a long time. But like now, you don't even remember it. And, now it's just a viable, great spot, so.
No doubt.
What street was that on when it was blocked? I don't even remember it.
What's that street between like where Obed's?
Jackson Street,
Oh,
Just
okay.
that whole
So it was just
street.
sitting on that street?
right.
Yeah, it was lifted up and put on the street.
It actually was moved from Springfield Clinic's expansion.
Oh, okay.
And it was either knock it down or move it, and they were able to get it moved. I think that's where it was located,
I think, did
Springfield
they
Clinic.
have to do foundation work or something?
Yeah.
Is that why? And then the house, they picked the house up and moved
Yeah.
it, and then there was a whole series of like complications that happened, but it ended up that it all worked out. And
Right. Great.
Right, we're just getting the TV set up, so bear with us.
You don't have a hard copy to pass out?
No, we didn't.
Why would we want to go
We're
back
the
in
next
time?
generation, sir.
We don't want to go back in time, we want to stay up.
Right. It's a new generation.
Technology.
This is,
I was joking with the people at our bank this morning. We got a survey, an internal survey today. And it was about our technology at the bank and what we can do to improve it. And it wasn't even an online survey. It was something we had to print and fill out and send. I was like,
issue number one, right?
yeah.
for the record, this survey was done by an outside consulting firm. It was not Carrollton Bank.
Not Carrollton.
Is this the new system for council chambers? These TVs and stuff, I think? Isn't it in the process of all of this being upgraded? I think, or,
Yeah, we've had these for quite a few city council meetings now for presentations, but yeah, they're quite nice.
one of them.
Technology is wonderful when it works. Yes, it's on the central screen now, so we can see it on this one, darling. We're good.
Yeah, this one's just showing that there's a, you must have turned some of these off.
Hey, Robbie. Yes. Yes, absolutely. We have a presentation from my colleague Mesfin Lenth, who also works in the Office of Planning and Economic Development. He does our GIS, he's a GIS analyst as well as our business projects manager, amongst other things. And he's going to be providing a brief presentation on some of the programs that he administers in particular. So I'll allow him to introduce himself as well as those programs. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mesfin. Like you said, I'm his colleague. I've been with OPED for 2 years. So I'll be talking about Enterprise Zone and the First Responders and Veterans TIF program, as well as TIF exterior rehab. So I have the PowerPoint, but it was corrupted a little bit, so that's just fixing that. As soon as that's up, we can go over that. So it was just working, but I don't know, system here is kind of iffy.
So what is your name again?
My name is Mesfin, M-E-S-F-I-N, Mesfin.
And you work for in the Economic Development
Yes,
Department?
that's correct. Yep, I've been working there for 2 years.
Oh, and you oversee these?
These programs, as well as Historic Sites Commission, I provide GIS maps and as well as demographics. I track businesses, open, closed, and work with other departments such as Public Works, with City Works, and trying to automate a lot of stuff that we do. So, yeah.
Wow, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Seems like you have your hands full.
What is it?
Sounds like you have your hands full.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of changes, as you guys know, with OPED, so we've been very busy.
Put it on that one.
Oh, okay. So, can't have it on there, right? How about those? No? If not, that's okay. I can turn it on. Yeah, they can.
It's not on these monitors.
Everything was working, and I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
That's the only screen that's coming up on right now.
Yep, it does. It looks
Yeah,
like.
look at that.
Yay.
Just made it work.
Okay. Perfect.
There you go.
I can see it.
Technology.
So, yeah, Ravi, if you don't mind just scrolling through when we're ready. The tax increment financing, TIF, home exterior rehab, this is a 50/50 matching grant for up to $15,000. Can you zoom in a little bit, Ravi, from there? Yeah, that one, the plus sign. Yeah. All right. So we have the qualified ordinance TIF districts, which are Enos Park, Far East, and SHA Madison Park Place. And so Enos Park has been appropriated $250,000, and Far East and SHA $100,000. It's kind of hard to see from here. Can you zoom in a little bit again toward the graph? Really, Enos Park is one of the most active TIF districts due to the Enos Park neighborhood, and as well as the Federal Home Loan Bank, where they can provide the 50% matching grant. So as you can see, the green are in Enos Park, and then red is Far East, and then SHA in blue. And then I already talked about the ordinance appropriation. In terms of expenditure, it looks like for Enos Park, we have spent about $198,000, and then we have about $51,000 left in that. So this is an ordinance appropriation, so it can be a reoccurring. And then we have the Far East spending $73,000 or so, and have $26,000 left. And SHA, as you guys know, that has expanded the SHA TIF district, and so nothing has been expended from that TIF district at all. We do have one that is going through the application right now. So the major reason I would say SHA is not getting but people have not applied. If you scroll down a little bit in terms of the owner-occupied homes, because this is for single-family owner-occupied, you have SHA, as you can see, 38 owner-occupied, but then with the proposed SHA expansion, you're looking at 151 owner-occupied homes. So those, we think with the new expansion, will have more participants. And then as you can see, Far East has one of the highest, actually, in terms of owner-occupied, but it has its weaknesses in terms of, one, I believe internet accessibility within the east side is a problem, and so being able to maybe boots on the ground to let them know the program exists would help in this regard. And then, Ravi, if you can scroll to the right. So out of the whole TIF exterior rehab completed projects, it looks like 67% are from Enos Park and 33% are from Far East. And as I said earlier, there's 0 from SHA, but that will, we think that will go up. And then let's look at the eligible improvements. Let's stay there. So we can do roof improvement, exterior painting or siding, tack pointing, masonry, and front porch and exterior stairs. So it's not really interior, but it does help them for the exterior aspect of improvements, where this program can also be used within enterprise zone. So it overlaps enterprise zone where you can get sales tax exemption. I'll talk about that, and as well as with the 50% matching grant. If they don't have the money, we do have Justine Peterson micro loan program, where we're trying to tell them they can come here and then get that micro loan program to get the application started. So let's move to the next slide.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, or Commissioner.
Before you move on? This is an annual allocation? These are annual allocations?
So if the fund is depleted, then we will reintroduce an ordinance. So this is since the inception of 2017.
I see.
Inception of the program,
So
2017.
how do we promote these programs?
Yeah, so one of the things we've done right now is the incentive area lookup. So where you go on to springfield.il.us, and then under city departments, planning and economic development. And then up at the top, you will have incentive area lookup, and then you just put your address there, and it will let you know the pre-qualified programs for the city residents, and then also find the application online there, and as well as call us, email us from there. So that's one way, but yeah, marketing needs to be a little better, in my opinion, and so that's kind of where we're at.
Because you got to promote it for people to even know to go to it, right? I mean, to know that it exists.
Right.
Where to go to find out information.
Right. So one of the things actually we've done is we've sent mailing to each owner-occupied home to let them know about the incentives. And so with the proposed expansion, we'll also do the same for the TIF exterior rehab. That is the direct way we've communicated, really. And really one of the main hurdles or obstacles is that people don't have the matching percentage. As I said, it's 50%. And so if they don't have the money, they don't necessarily want to come to maybe Justine Peterson because it's a loan in the end. So they want to wait for that money. Yeah, we always, looking to layer other incentives as well with that. So that's it's kind of our approach right now. But like I said, marketing, maybe boots on the ground might be better.
My question is, how much, what's the interest rate on the microloan?
I would say for businesses is at 3% fixed rate. I'm not quite sure about the homeowner side. I believe
You know
somewhere.
if it'd be less or more?
What is it?
Do you know if it'd be less or
Oh,
more?
it is definitely more. So Justine Peterson microloan program is really set up as non-bankable people or businesses. So if they can't go to their banks, and then they can come to Justine Peterson to get the money they need for the matching side. So the matching, that is held in escrow account. So this is more of a skin in the game that, no one is abusing the program, and that they actually want the improvement with that home. They do have to stay living with that property for the next 5 years as part of the recapture agreement. Otherwise, there will be municipal lien put on that. So that is really how the program runs.
So is that 50-50 match determined by us, or is that
Yes, it's part of the ordinance. So we have the ordinance, each of them there, where Enos Park and Far East and SHA. And so that can always be obviously amended. But yes, that is set by the city council.
And will this presentation be available to us?
Yes, I can send a copy of this PDF file. Yes. So if we can move to the first responders program, Ravi. So as part of the other TIF exterior, we have actually the ordinances were amended to include first responders such as police officers, firefighters, and veterans. And so they can get 10% of the purchasing home or up to $20,000. If you can zoom in a little bit, Ravi. So like I said, this grant is specifically for first responders and veterans. They must complete 1 year employment of service with the city prior to applying for that. And then the veterans must show that discharge of duty or Form 214, DD 214, to apply for that. And as part of the other required documentation is also a copy of the appraisal. And so that's really it. This is also one of the program that could really use marketing as well. And so, yeah, we'll be working on that. But in terms of the eligible expenses or improvements, you can use it for existing home or new construction at the market rate. So if you can slide to the right, you have the 3 individuals there and addresses to our veterans. One is a paramedic, and so those have been helped and only spent from Enos Park only, and that's a total of $30,000 we've spent out of the $100,000 that's been allocated, as you can see on the graph. So in addition, this program can really be used optimally, in my opinion, because as I said earlier, the TIF exterior rehab. So once you purchase the home, one, you get the 10% of the home purchase or up to $20,000, and then in addition, because they're within the TIF exterior rehab, they can do the exterior side improvement. So it's not just $20,000; they get a lot more in addition with $15,000. On top of that, you have the Enterprise Zone program, which I also administer, and that's the BMEC, Building Material Exemption Certificate. You can get sales tax exemption, which at the city is 9.75%. However, I'll talk more about property tax abatement later. TIF does supersede Enterprise Zone when it comes to property tax abatement because the money that is generated, the increment is used in for TIF only. So therefore, we can't do property tax abatement with this program. So.
And this program is it just for the Enos Park and Far East TIFs? Is that what I'm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I do have suggestions that maybe we introduce an ordinance for the SHA as well to kind of have it lined up, for the 3 TIF districts as well.
Just marketing wise to this one sounds pretty big to me. And a couple thoughts. One, if there's it seems like realtors have certain areas they specialize in, some people are Chatham, some people, if we can identify the realtors who have a lot of activity in those markets, I would think this would be a huge piece and an easy marketing piece to them.
Okay, yeah.
But I think then they could tell their clients.
Right.
Would be an option. Lenders is another one. I remember this, but I forgot this program. And
Exists,
as a lender, if you knew about this, it would be helpful as well.
Right. Yeah, I think we should definitely market it that way. Like I said, though, it's only for first responders and veterans at the moment, but that can be expanded. So let's move on to the next
I have one
slide.
question.
Yes, go ahead,
I
Commissioner.
thought I heard you say that the requirement, the employment was 1 year service
Yes.
with us.
With the city of Springfield.
So it has to be with the city of Springfield?
Yes, correct. This is all for the city of
This
Springfield.
is just for city of Springfield?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I think we lost the. Yeah, we lost the fee. No.
Is there a credit union for City of Spring? There's not. Is there?
Yeah, that, yeah, there is, right?
And do they do home loans?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. So technical difficulties. It's fine. I mean, I can, I administer this program, so I can actually just talk about it. And then you guys can have the copy of the presentation later on. So the enterprise zone program, we talked about sales tax exemption. This is a program that is set up by the state, county, and city. Really the objective is trying to create jobs within blighted areas and revitalize neighborhoods. Unlike the TIF exterior rehab, where you have only owner-occupied single homes, eligible properties, this one is for everybody. So it could be a nonprofit, it could be commercial building, anyone really. And so the sales tax exemption, though, however, is for building materials that is, permanent with the property. So when you go, say, for example, to the Home Depot or Lowe's, you will show this certified or BMEC, that's what we call a building material exemption certificate. You will show that, and then you will get the sales tax off of that. So now, within the calendar year that you're purchasing, say it was in 2021, you will need to report how many things you've bought and just keep a copy of the receipts and then submit that reporting to DOR, Illinois Department of Revenue. And so that's how we are tracking. There's really two parts to it. One is a project application, and then the other is contractor application. The project application is where the project is taking place. The contractor application, you will have subcontractors who's doing various types of work, whether it's mechanical, electrical, and things like that. So each contractor, subcontractor, will need to apply for the portion of their work, and then that is how they are exempted from sales tax. Now, for the businesses or the projects, really the owner is the one interested in the property tax abatement. The property tax abatement really has 3 different criteria that you can qualify under, and I call it TAG. One is targeted inducement. That one is by manufacturing type of industries or large industries. And then the second one is area inducement, which is HUD, Housing Urban Development Federal Government designated qualified census tracts, which basically have high violence, high crime rate, hard to develop areas, and so we target those as well to be able to revitalize the neighborhood. Really for the property tax abatement, you need to have the assessed value increase by $25,000 prior to getting the abatement. And so for the area abatement, you will have, it's for city's portion of taxes for 5 years that you'll be exempted from. So you won't be paying city portion of taxes for 5 years. And then there's the county version, Sangemon County property tax abatement as well, because it's a partnership program, like I said. So that one really is for unincorporated Sangemon County areas. So it wouldn't include like Chatham and other townships that exist, but it's for unincorporated. So this is a mechanism that would really attract big developers. For example, LRS on 2401 West Monroe, those are one of the beneficiary of the tax abatement, where it is a scientific type of business, and so we were able to help them develop their or expand their buildings. So it could be used for that, and then in the middle of that, you have a lot of jobs being created. And so that is really the goal. DCO likes to see job creation. How do you see job creation? Really, you have your current employees as a business, right? And so with the projects that you have at the end, how many jobs do you think, at the project conclusion you will have? And so that's the difference in terms of the job creation. Now, this does incentivize, like I said, project investment, and so really businesses take huge advantage of this, not necessarily homeowners, because if you have a high project investment, you're saving a whole lot due to sales tax exemption and as well as the property tax abatement. So the bigger the project, the better the enterprise zone incentives will be. And so that's really it. I can really give you the details of that. I mean, there are a lot of suggestions to make it more effective and efficient. And one of my goals really is to automate applications. Similar to what CityWorks, Public Works is using, I would like to have, once you go online, you submit that and it's on a database where I can track it, who submitted, and and track it there. Otherwise, right now, yes, we do have fillable forms, but it's more of exchanging documents, which is not really effective. We can still have that for those that are not electronic savvy. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, we can always expand the area too. It takes 6 to 8 months, which is too long in my opinion too, because like I said, it's state, county, and city, so everybody's involved. If an expansion is originated from the city, then it would start here at the city council, goes to the county, and then from the county, once the two are approved, agriculture will look at it. From agriculture, then DOR would look at it. So it's very cumbersome. And for expansion, when people are applying, really I'm applying on behalf of them rather to DCEO. The Enterprise Zone Board is the one that would make that decision. I'd be happy to take questions. I mean, I think the presentation will really give you insights on what we can improve on, how we can layer other incentives, in my opinion. And so hopefully we can, you have great idea too, such as, lenders and credit unions to market the first responders, for example. So that would be one. And the other thing is with the TIF exterior hub, I would say that the matching, because it's a lot, to use as much as possible of the Justine Peterson microloan program. And in general, we do have a lot of dilapidated houses on the east side, and as well as some foreclosed homes and abandoned properties. And so I believe, in my opinion, maybe we should collaborate with building and zoning or Public Works, so Public Works, code enforcement, and as well as administrative court at the county before some of these properties are, going on the registration for demolition or anything like that. If we were to do that, we can actually maintain the current aesthetics of neighborhoods and as well as revitalize the neighborhoods. So those are some of the suggestions, and once again, they'll be on there. So I'm sure you guys have better things to do, but I'll be happy to take questions.
So just real quickly, is it just job creation that is the main priority, or does this have to be in distressed areas?
Oh yeah, it has to be by within distressed area. So
How does LRS, how do they?
so they were targeting to create jobs. So
But are they considered in a distressed area?
I would have to look at the exact designation of that area originally. I mean, we have over, I would say, 68 enterprise zones.
That was my other question. How many entities are using this?
Yeah, 68 enterprise zones. And these can also be found on Economic Development Office. Once you go to the enterprise zone page, you can look at all maps.
Okay.
So they're parcel by parcel. They have to be, they're maxed out at 12 miles acreage, and so it can't be anything more than that. There are a lot that can be expanded that are not meeting that 12 miles acreage. So that's how, really, when they're designated, it's under two options. One is trying to specifically bring job and improve the area, and then the other is trying to get rid of or eliminate economic development impediments. And so that could be, you know, crime rate and has poverty rate. So it's similar really with TIF in a way because you're addressing blighted areas. And so, yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, any additional questions?
Great job. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
the
thank you. Thank you for having me,
presentation.
and sorry for the technical difficulties
Oh,
that we had
that's-
as well.
No
Yeah.
worries. I would like to see the
We'll
presentations.
we'll definitely get that over to
Send a
you,
copy. Yep.
Commissioner.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right, great, thank you. Okay, well, we don't have a public, so I don't think we have public comments today. So if there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All right, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Happy New Year to everyone, by the way.